So you guys probably already know that I live in a very vintage house in a 1920s property heavily inspired by the 1940s. But I have never once claimed to be trying to recreate a 1940s house. But people on the internet and people that comment on like articles that I'm in seem to think that that's what I'm trying to do. And then they rate me as to how good or bad I've been at doing that. So I thought today it would be fun to take a tour around a genuine 1940s house, courtesy of the Imperial War Museums, to see how historically accurate and how similar my house is to a genuine 1940s house.
Welcome to the 1940s house. A house very typical of the thousands built in Britain.
I'm sorry, I have to stop it there already. That front door is my absolute dream. Me and my mum have always said of all the front door designs that there are, we have always wanted that exact design, that very quintessential 1940s design, that very like Ethel and Ernest kind of feel. If you don't know that book, go and give it a read, but be ready to cry. That is the kind of front door that we want. But sadly, we're not doing very well so far because my front door does not look like that. This house was bought off a lady in her late 90s. So obviously a lot of things had been added to aid her mobility and make living here a lot easier for her. And one of the things that she replaced is the front door with a PVC door. Now, I don't know what the door looked like before then. It probably didn't even look like that. Who knows? I mean, this house is from all the way back to the 20s. Who knows what the door looked like before then? But that, for me, is the dream. But sadly, we don't have that at the moment.
In the late 1930s, as Britain
I love this
emerged
bow
from the
tie.
Great Depression,
Bow ties are cool.
in southern Britain. And so many houses, such as this one, were built in the London suburbs.
Okay, the entrance hall. Let's see.
This is the entrance hall to the 1940s house. It leads to the kitchen.
So straight away, my entrance hall is tiny. I actually live in a very small house. The rooms are a great size, but there aren't many rooms. There are 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a bathroom, a living room, and barely a landing and a hallway, like barely. So my entrance hall is kind of just a square of floor underneath the stairs, where we've got like our cast iron coat hooks and like a very small little cabinet and my doll's house, and that is about it. So it doesn't look like that at all. The stairs aren't facing you as you walk in. This house has a very unique design, and a lot of people on this street change this design, but me and my mum, being vintage lovers and blah, blah, we decided to keep it because we're sentimental like that. So our stairs are actually off the kitchen. So you go into the house, you go through to the kitchen, and then the stairs are at the back. Our bathroom is also right off the kitchen as well, because obviously in modern living, a lot of people would say it's not practical, but we just thought it added charm. So we've kept the layout of this house exactly as when we bought it.
Kitchen, dining room and sitting room on the ground floor, and the stairs lead up to the 3 bedrooms, bathroom and separate toilet.
Okay, the stairs. So I've got the same banister, i.e. the long, thin banister, and my stairs are also wooden. My stairs have a stair runner, which I totally expected to see in this 1940s home, but maybe a stair runner was a luxury. I don't know. Let's see if he says anything about it.
On the doormat are a range of public information leaflets. These began in January 1939 with a call for national service and continued right the way through that year, and indeed right the way through the Second World War.
Okay, turns out he doesn't mention a stair runner. I'd have thought there'd have been one. Maybe it was a bit of a luxury. Maybe it was a bit impractical because it got dirty a lot. But we do have a stair runner. But I'd say our stairs are pretty much spot on. We don't have wartime propaganda as you walk through the front door, although if you look around our house, you will see a lot of traditional nods to the period. Okay, I don't know how we're going to do on the living room either. I don't know.
This is the living or sitting room of the 1940s house. It's decorated in a style that was very popular in the late 1930s, Art Deco. The family would have kept the same furniture and decoration throughout the war because furniture, like everything else, was in short supply. The focus of the room was the fireplace, and the open coal fire was the main source of heat when the room would have been cosy and warm when the fire was alight.
Okay, so there's a lot of differences, of course, but I think the general colour scheme of a 1940s living room and my living room is pretty similar. We have similar lampshades, and I guess similar patterns in our living space. But I guess the main thing is that we kept our fire, and that is still the focus of our living room. So we've got like the coal scuttle and all the bits and bobs to clean the fire, and the fireplace is very much the heart of the home, and it warms up the entire room. So that for us is still the focus. So layout wise, it's pretty similar.
However, fuel was in short supply during the wartime, and a fuel saving scheme was introduced in 1942, which encouraged householders not to use their fire at all in the summer months and to turn off the lights when not necessary.
Okay, so our fire it's a multi-fuel burner, so it can burn coal and it can burn wood. The eco-friendly coal is pretty good because it's good for the environment, but it is tricky to burn. Like, it doesn't burn very well. So most of the time we use recycled wood, like, you know, wood that we don't need anymore, paper that we don't need anymore, but it can burn coal as well. So yeah, but we mainly use it for wood.
Children would use the living room or sitting room as a play area rather than their bedrooms during wartime. Pride of place in the living room was the wireless set or radio. The 9 o'clock news was the focus point of the family's.
Okay, so we don't have a wireless. There was a friend of a friend that contacted me because they were selling a gramophone, but it was too big. Like, this house is bursting at the seams with vintage loveliness, but we have to live within our means, and we're very good at living with the space that we've got. We don't buy too much. We don't want the house to feel too cluttered. In some people's eyes, it's already really cluttered, but for us, we have a level in our mind, and when we go over that, we start giving some things away, like donating them and stuff. I would love a wireless. I just worry about the room because it wouldn't really be used that much. It wouldn't actually be functional. So if I did have it, it would probably be mainly for decoration. And yeah, we're running out of space as it is, so that's a tricky one.
This point of the family's listening day and the radio. But there were also comedy programmes like Itmar, Happy Drome and High Gang, and more serious programmes like the Brains Trust. The family would have also had a record player, or as they were known at the time, gramophones. You had to watch.
I do have a record player, but it's like a more modern version, and it's within a suitcase, which is good for space. I didn't get it because it was actually a present from my grandpa so that I could play my records. So yeah, it's good for, you know, space.
And they played records that were very, very easy to scratch or to break. The records of the time featured stars like Vera Lynn and Glenn Miller and his band. From June 1941 onwards, clothes were rationed, and the public were given 66 coupons to buy their clothes. Clothes rationing continued for the next 8 years. But even before the war, many people had made their own clothes. They were now encouraged by the Board of Trade, the government department that owned.
So we do have in our living room a very old Singer sewing machine with the original tape measure and things like that. We don't have any dresses on a mannequin as they do here. Wow, it's just gotten so bright in here. What's going on? But we do have a Singer sewing machine in the living space. Okay, this one I'm really looking forward to. This is the kitchen.
This is the kitchen of the 1940s house.
Okay, wait a minute. That is not too dissimilar to mine. They've got the same colour schemes going on, the black and white flooring, that lovely little like sage green, a Belfast sink. I think I can see our bread bin there. I think I can see our cornflakes packet, our bowls. Yeah, instantly. And we've even got that, oh my goodness, what's it called? The washer thing, washboard. We've got the washboard as well in the pantry area. So far, I'm seeing a lot of similarities.
And the room in the house that's probably undergone the greatest changes since the Second World War.
Not in my house.
A look around the kitchen reveals that there are very few, if any, labour-saving devices. Hardly any British households had fridges at the beginning of the Second World War, and none had freezers.
Okay, so I do have a fridge freezer. It's my second-hand Smeg, donated to me by my nan, that goes perfectly with the colour of the kitchen. Yeah, so I do. The thing is that in this house, you know, in some big Victorian houses, you get really large pantries or sometimes basements where things can remain very cool. I have a very small pantry in this house, if you can even call it that, but it would never be big enough to substitute or replace a fridge.
Washing machines were
Live longer with
comparatively few.
Calgon. I hate that adverts do to me exactly what the advertisers want. I hate that. Obviously, we have a washing machine. It's hidden in our pantry. It's very small, very, very small. I do have the washboard and things, but again, that was because we spotted them in a charity shop and we couldn't leave them behind. I think they're actually living in the outhouse at the moment, but I haven't actually used it as it was originally intended yet.
Which was used to do the household laundry. At the time, Monday was washing day in Britain. It was a very time-consuming task that the housewife had to do in washing and indeed doing the washing up. No detergents, just done with household soap and soap flakes.
What's really funny is this is so similar to my kitchen, even down to one of their taps is wonky, and it's the same tap where ours is wonky. So our left tap, the hot water tap, is wonky. Don't know why, it just has been. We've had a plumber look at it, still wonky, and theirs is exactly the same, which I find hilarious.
Keeping the 1940s house clean was also a difficult and time-consuming task. A few households did have electric hoovers.
We are one of those households. We have a Hetty.
But most just had the carpet sweeper. A broom, dustpan and brush were used for sweeping up the dirt, whilst the kitchen floor would be mopped up with a bucket of
We have the exact same brush as that. Like, exactly the same.
Soap and water. Lacking a fridge, most of the household's edible foods were placed either in the larder cupboard or in a separate pantry in some of the older houses. Food was rationed in Britain from the 8th of January 1940. Fuel was also rationed during the...
So, as you can see, that 1940s cooker is incredibly similar to my cooker, down to the plate warmer and even like the pots and pans that she's using. Even the kettle we've got a kettle exactly like that. So, yeah, that's all... pretty accurate. We have that, yeah. Oh, you guys have all seen my cooker, but yeah, that's pretty spot on.
Second World War, and housewives were advised to cook as much as possible in one go to conserve fuel. Behind the cornflakes packet, there's the family bread bin.
We have both those things. So we have an original 1940s bread bin and we have a vintage cornflakes packet that we do keep actual cereal in. It's like our fairy liquid bottle. That's also vintage, and we just keep replacing it with new washing up liquid because we just like the way that these things look. I'm skipping over the dining room because I don't have a dining room. So onto the bathroom.
This is the bathroom of the 1940s house. It was still not all that very common to have an indoor bathroom. Most families still relied on the old tin bath to have their Friday night bath, that being a ritual.
So I have an indoor bathroom, of course, and it's very similar to that. We have a black bath panel and the size of the bathroom is pretty similar. When we did up our bathroom, I wanted to get it tiled, all up the walls and things, with like lemon yellow tiles. Or one idea that I had was it was going to be like a border of like black tiles and then painted lemon yellow wall. But budget, we just didn't have the money to tile the entire bathroom, or we would have. But yeah, it's still a very 1940s-esque colour. Bathrooms tended to be a green or a yellow.
The bathroom has a bath but no shower, and to save on fuel, families were advised to limit the amount of hot water in their baths to 5 inches.
I would not be able to live without my shower. I barely have baths. If I couldn't have a shower, I would get nothing done. So that's, yeah, we have a shower.
Soap was rationed from February 1942 onwards. The ration was 4 ounces per person per week.
So I don't know how people will feel about this, but we always have an actual like soap like that, not a pump soap. We have actual hand soap. We don't have a pump action soap dispenser in this house. It's always actual soap, because we just, I don't know, like it. But people might think that's kind of like gross because obviously everyone's rubbing their hands on the same bit of soap. But Yeah, it's just what we use.
Week of toilet soap, and rations were reduced to 3 ounces in July of that year. Shampoo was scarce, so women often had to resort to washing their hair with their own small ration of soap.
We also use our windowsill to keep all of our shampoos and conditioners, because our window is right above the bath, like it is there. Bit tricky when you're having a shower. We've had to work out a way so that the sill doesn't get all mouldy, but these old houses weren't designed with showers in mind, so.
Men's shaving soap was also rationed. Families were encouraged by the government to have a first aid kit in the bathroom to be used in the event of injuries caused during air raids.
We have a vintage first aid kit in our bathroom with genuine stuff in there that you can use. Like, all the stuff in there is new, but the actual first aid kit itself is vintage. It's made out of tin. It's really sweet.
Even more uncommon than a bathroom was an indoor lavatory or toilet. Many older houses...
So jealous of the pool chain. Again, we really wanted a pool chain, and I wanted like a big, is it cistern toilet? But again, budget. We just didn't have the funds to make that happen. So we just got a normal toilet with a normal button flush at the moment. But I want a pool chain in my life again. I really do. Well, yeah, I had a pool chain in a rented property that we lived in years ago. And I loved it. So I'd like that back one day.
In large towns and cities in Britain would have had a toilet outside, and sometimes that toilet would have to be shared.
Our toilet also has a black toilet seat. Okay, let's have a look at the master bedroom.
Here is the main or master bedroom of the 1940s house. Slightly unusual in the fact that there are twin beds. Most couples would have had a double bed. The beds are covered with down and feather-filled eiderdowns.
So I have an eiderdown. My eiderdown was commented on a lot when I posted a video about my house. And my mum also has an eiderdown in her bedroom. Would highly recommend them. They are really warm, and we found ours on eBay, and the other one was 20p from a jumble sale.
But hot water bottles would still be needed in wintertime as the room would get very cold.
We have those water bottles. We don't use them. They're currently in the bathroom at the moment, but we have, and in the small toilet in my mum's room, but we have 2 of those traditional water bottles.
With only a very small electric fire for heating in front of the fireplace.
So I don't have an electric fire, as you can see. This is the original 1920s fireplace, so it's not electric, so which I'm kind of happy about, because if there's one part of the 1940s I didn't love, their electric fires. I don't know, I didn't always love the look of them. I much prefer a more traditional cast iron fireplace. So I have a fireplace in my bedroom, but not like that.
In the 1940s, the British male wasn't as fashion conscious as he is today. Most men would have...
So all those things there, I've got literally the exact same set of drawers. Like, I think down to the handles are the same. And I have a lot of vintage suitcases in this bedroom. So yeah, and of course, fashion-wise, lots of vintage clothing. I think I noticed the wardrobe as well. I've got the same wardrobe, as you can probably see behind me.
The fall of France in June 1940 meant that French scents and perfumes were unavailable to British women. And so they were forced back on homegrown products like Yardley's lavender water, which one can still get today.
I love my perfumes. I've got a set of vintage perfumes on top of the fireplace, and the older perfumes that are still being manufactured today, they are my favourites by far. And then there are only 2 other rooms in this tour, which I'm not going to watch, because one's the children's bedroom and one's the front bedroom. But as me and my mum are both very much adults, we both live in the master bedroom, if you like. Size-wise, I'm in the master, but we're not like, none of us, are kids, so I don't need to watch those videos. But I really am quite shocked as to how many similarities I saw in that video. Obviously, it's 2024. There's a lot of things that don't match exactly. But I think to say that this house was put together kind of by accident and kind of organically became very 1940s inspired, I think we've done pretty well, because we didn't do like loads of research when we were decorating this place. We didn't do like loads of historic research into trying to get period accuracy. So I think what we've managed to achieve by accident is pretty good. And, you know, long may it continue, because if there's anything that makes my heart happy, it's a lovely old house that makes you feel like you're chilling at grandma's.